So my first it was my first time being homeless, and I was in eighth grade, going into ninth grade. And it's kind of, to me, it was a weird story. But in first and second grade, and before that, we lived in West York, little borough right beside York City. For those people not from York, very urban. And one day, my parents said, "Hey, we're moving out to the country." So by the time I got to third grade, I lived in the Brogue. The nearest kids to us were literally a mile away. We were surrounded by fields and woods. And my brother and I, we figured out how to make do with that. Actually, it was awesome. And we lived in the Brogue and so forth. And we worked on farms until we were in eighth grade. Or I was in eighth grade. My brother was in seventh. And in May, just out of the blue to me, we were told, "Hey, we're selling our house and we're going to Canada." How long are we going to Canada? For the summer. Cool. So we sold the house. We got rid of like everything. And off to Canada we went. We lived in tents for the entire summer. Not intense as far as being extreme, intense with poles and lots of mosquitoes. I lost a lot of blood in Canada to the mosquitoes. You can actually hear them buzzing at some places. But so we're in Canada, and I'm not sure to this day why we moved. I would love to ask my mom sometime, like, why did we move? But we did a lot of fishing because that's how we got a lot of food. So we traveled all around Canada. The best part that I remember is that we saw wolves in the wild, only for fleeting seconds. But it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. We were in Quebec, along the St. Lawrence Seaway, which was my favorite place. So we eventually come back to Pennsylvania. We have no home. Now I'm thinking to myself as an adult, who wouldn't have arrangements made? My parents did not. So we end up at my grandmother's house, my dad's mom, who I'm pretty sure her favorite mode of transportation was a broom. She was not very nice. And she lived in North York, not in the Red Line School District where we had been going to school. It's August. School's going to soon start. We need to be in the Red Line School District. Well, we don't have a place to live. We don't have a place to live. Finally, my parents rent a house in Windsor. So we move in. We're in the Red Line School District now. Things are good. I'm going to be back at school with my friends. I don't need to change schools, so on and so forth. Within 2 weeks, the house caught on fire. It wasn't a big fire, but big enough, because now we're homeless again. And we're back to Grandma Broom Rider. And I'm afraid that we're going to have to switch school districts. My mom's taking us to school every day, dropping us off. My brother and I went to different schools because I was in ninth grade now. He was in eighth grade. But we stayed there, stayed at my grandmother's house and just drove every day. And we were told, don't say anything to anyone. So we didn't. Eventually, my parents did buy a house in the town of Red Lion. And to me, this house was like a mansion. I drive by it today. It's just a normal old house. But we actually got a place to live. And I think I figured out why we may have sold the house, because not too long after that, my parents got a divorce. So that may have something to do with it, which is why I have never asked my mom why for the first time we became homeless and lived in Canada for an entire summer. But it was an experience. Not sure I'd want to repeat it, but it was an experience. A tent for a weekend's pretty cool. A tent for 2.5 months, is a tent for 2.5 months. And it's not intense. So that's my first and hopefully my only time being homeless.